Hey guys, welcome to the second video in my game development series. In this video, I'm going to be covering the basics of the camera and character movement setup that I've done. Before I get into that though, I do want to mention that for this video and videos going forward, at least in the near term, I'm basically going to be going over the features inside of Unity itself, as well as playing the game inside of the Unity editor. And going into the code is not going to be a common thing that I'm going to do. If I do run into a piece of code that I find interesting and think others might too, I may dive into those specific instances of code. But as a general, from video to video, it's not going to be something that I plan on doing. Now, if that is something that you guys are interested in me doing, just leave a comment below. And if I get enough requests and enough interest in that, then I will start doing that in videos in the future. So let's dive into the the camera and the player movement stuff. And basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start up the game inside of Unity. And we have our basic randomly generated map and our player, which is represented by the blue shirt. Um, so with the character movement, I did start off with a WASD style movement that a lot of 2D games, top-down 2D games implement. But with the way I want the skill system to work and the amount of skills I want the user to have access to, I figured a more traditional action RPG, hack and slash RPG movement style with the actual mouse and clicking would work better. So that's basically what I've implemented here. So basically, whenever the mouse is, whenever you have the left click down, the character is going to move towards your mouse. Now the way I've implemented this is I've kind of implemented it in two different fashions. One fashion is when you let go, the character immediately stops, which is not typical, at least in the action RPG games I've played. If we go into the inspector and I've got the player selected, we inside our player controller behavior script, we have this last clicked movement. If I were to check that, what's going to happen is that whenever I let go of the mouse or let go of the left click, the character is going to continue to move until the character has reached the spot where the mouse was last when the left mouse button was held down. And this is more typical that I've seen in games like Path of Exile, Diablo, Grim Dawn, stuff of that nature. Um, Not quite sure which way I want to go. Something that kind of bugs me, at least in games that have traps or labyrinth style areas like Path of Exile does, with the character moving to the place the mouse was last when the left click button or the mouse move was down, is that a lot of times in those situations I want to immediately stop and not continue forward, which can be a little bit difficult, at least for me. And I think having the character stop on the mouse or the move key being lifted immediately can kind of alleviate that issue. But both systems are implemented and it's very easy to enable and disable. So it might be something that I keep both of them in there and it's just a player option on whether or not which style of movement they want to use. Not quite sure yet how that will go, but I did get both of them in there and kind of experimented with a different couple of different movement systems. So that's the basics of the player movement as it's currently implemented. The last thing I did want to mention is that, and I'm just going to turn that off. Um, so when the character starts to move and when the character stops moving, you'll notice that the camera does not immediately follow. There's a slight delay, and that's something I added in. It's actually a suggestion from Twitter as well as something that I saw with a video kind of going through a number of different things. You can add small tweaks and visual things to action-based games to kind of give nice effects. And I do kind of like the effect that this has versus the camera, which is this guy right here, being attached to the player and just having the camera dead on the player all the time. That delay in the camera movement when the player starts and stops or changes direction, I think is a kind of a nice visual effect. That's basically everything I wanted to go over in this video. So thanks everyone.